To this case, we'll go ahead and get started. Usually, we start with just a little grounding, and then we move into kind of our main mantra practice where we work with the Heart Sutra mantra and we work with a black spiritual, just kind of working with Mother Harriet, bringing her into our space and trying to attune ourselves to her kind of powerful frequency of liberation. Everything I do or offer today is opt in, opt out, so feel free to leave, come back, be on screen, off screen, do what I'm saying with me, or do something completely separate. Really, this time is for us to just experience our needs as they arise and really to try and ground into those and work with that kind of awareness of, okay, what's coming up as I explore and dream of what liberation could be, body, in this land right now. And as we move through the winter months, especially, this kind of slow grieving, that kind of the world is inviting us into, right? We see the leaves drop in the fall, and at least where I am, it gets cold, the weather, the skies get gray, it starts to snow, things start to really kind of visibly decay around us, but decay in a way that's like inherently regenerative, right? The leaves only drop because the trees are bringing in their moisture. They're kind of bringing all their resources into the trunk and the roots so that they can weather this part of the year and come back to life in a different way in the spring and the summer. And I don't know, I've just been thinking about that a lot, especially as we move through a lot of communal grief, that we need all these tools to just really be able to slow down, fortify, and realize there are leaves that we need to drop. There are ways that we need to let go in order to experience more. And so that's the kind of energy that I think Mother Harriet really invites into my practice. And so today, as we just take a second to maybe ground into our space, take a few deep breaths by yourself, perhaps breathing in, maybe sighing out. A few of those at your own pace. Just taking a second to notice what you feel right now. Perhaps starting at the seat, you can notice how you connect with the surface beneath you. Maybe notice the weight of your clothes against you, the temperature of the air around you. As we start to just settle into our spot before we do some breathing together, perhaps we put the hands at the chest in Anjali Mudra or on the belly, wherever feels like a connective holding spot with yourself. Feeling that warmth beneath the palm. We've been working with moonlight lately. We might imagine ourselves sitting at the base of a tree in the forest. The sun has already set a few hours ago. The stars have risen. You might feel a gentle breeze rolling across the forearms, the skin on the neck and shoulders. hear the rustling of the leaves as the trunk of this tree and its roots make a gentle seat for you on the forest floor. As we breathe in and out, you might start to notice the moonlight slowly reaching towards the skin and bathing us. It's kind of soft light. It dances across the skin as the leaves move in the wind, and we just let it sort of sink into our bodies. Every place it touches, it offers a little space. It invites a little breath to any places with tension or pain. Perhaps today we don't even try to alter that. We don't need to shift out of that pain, but just shine this kind of beacon moonlight on it. Become aware of it. Sit with it for a little bit. And let perhaps our own needs teach us where to go. Let our pain be an indicator of where we might direct our care. And as we take a few more deep breaths with the moonlight, we might start to let Mother Harriet come into this space. Whether she sits in her chair across the floor from us, or she starts to kind of materialize in smoke at the top of our heads. Or perhaps we just feel her in this light. And we might say aloud or to ourselves, Mother Harriet, I invite you into this space. Please join me in my practice towards liberation. May I connect with and attune to that energy, that spirit that it takes to become a conductor. My own life, a conductor on the sort of ancestral underground railroad, still running in our current abolition work. And we just passed the solstice, so in honoring that kind of portal, that seasonal switch as we move into this new year, our main breathing practice, Okinaga, as we slow down our breathing, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, really focusing on when we fill our bodies to relax the container around that full breath, and then to slowly empty ourselves out fully, really feeling that emptiness, pushing out all the stale air. Then we switch to the inhale, resisting that urge to gasp, really gathering that trust within ourselves to just let the breath trickle in through the backs of the nostrils, out through the mouth. And we'll use the bells today for the solstice, doing 21 breaths for that kind of December 21st, every solstice, I do kind of 21 bell breath ritual with whatever groups I'm sitting with, and we're 3 days off, but I figure it's no real matter. We can still participate. So feel free to breathe along with me or to breathe at your own pace. We'll be using the bells, so we will be breathing in with the high bell, breathing out with the low bell. As we continue to go, we can let the vibrations of these bells, these physical sound waves, ring out through us, pass beyond us, and really just explore what comes up in the stillness. what comes up in the depth of our breath. We'll start slow and kind of move into a longer breath, a kind of cadence. So we can start by taking one deep breath in together, letting all our air out. Inhale. Exhale. In. Out. Our longest breath in. Pace yourself. last breath in. Let everything out. And take a moment to move your body if you need to. Stretch, rearrange yourself, drink water. And we'll move into our main mantra practice, which I'll put in the chat. This is the mantra from the Heart Sutra. And thinking of, this is a version of Okinaga we did with the bells, but if you look at the previous recordings or join for weeks in the future, we do this exercise called long breath, Okinaga in Japanese, that is meant to really shatter our perceptions of impossibility. You start with 5, 10, 15-second inhales, and you can stretch all the way to your lungs capacity, 30, 45 seconds, 1 minute, and really, with consistency and attention, this exercise I find is a portal into really deep stillness, really deep breath and expansion. And this mantra of Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvaha is the main mantra or dharani from the Heart Sutra, meaning gone, gone beyond, gone completely beyond, awakening, so be it. And when we invoke Mother Harriet, for me, that is invoking that spirit of how do I go beyond? How do I dream beyond? How do I know the context and the trappings of this world I was born into and transcend them because I deeply trust my own freedom? That's the kind of energy I try to cultivate and let her inspire me with when calling her in with this mantra. And so we'll go through the mantra a few times, slow, and then we'll do some communal prayers together that I'll put in the chat when we get there. And we'll end this kind of main practice of mantra, prayer, singing with a spiritual that I'll also share in the chat and explain more before we get there. But we'll just open up with the bell again, taking a second, returning to that moonlight if you need to your home at the base of your tree, to that holding that the earth is always inviting us into, making a spot for us wherever we go. Gati paragati parasamgati bodhisvaha. Gati Gati Paragati swaha. Gati gati para gati arasam gati bodhi 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 swaha. Gati gati para gati arasam gati gati para arasam gati bodhi gati para gati gati para gati bodhi gati para arasam gati gati para gati arasam gati bodhi swaha. Gone, gone beyond, gone completely beyond. Awakening. So be it. We'll take that energy of going beyond into our communal prayers, which we can recite together, perhaps just taking a breath first. May all beings be free. May those suffering experience liberation. May we hold each other through revolution. May we abolish everything that is not love. May we rebirth a free world. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. And moving on to this second piece of our main practice. Today, working with "We shall not be moved." This 4-line version of the spiritual that's in the chat. Really inviting the energy of work songs, inviting the energy of our ancestors who had to find ways to have immovable spirits and continually forward moving action, right? That kind of blending of grounding in something eternal so that you can be fluid, adaptable, and meeting each arising moment fully as it comes. That's what I use these sorts of, or not use, but that's what I try to explore in these sort of protector practices, mantra work, Mother Harriet, Medicine Buddha, Chenrezig, any of these practices where we are opening ourselves up to those who have come before us with wrathful, fierce, and urgent compassion, and trying to dive into their deep knowing and trust and foster that self-trust so that we may lead ourselves down that path that they set before us. Knowing that it's unfolding, new and fresh with every step. Mother Harriet's last words were, "I go to prepare a place for you." And for me, part of my path is discovering, dreaming even, what is that place? Where could we go together? And so we dive into just a few rounds of our spiritual, shorter practice today, and then we'll close out together. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Like a tree float planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. Take a second to breathe in that moonlight. Imagine it bathing the whole of your body, the whole of the land. dissolving the barriers between you and what's around you. We might plant the seed of aspiration. What do we need? What do we need to tend to become immovable? In the way that a tree rooted down by the water is in constant motion with the whole of the earth. As we breathe in for one last final round, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. May we dedicate this practice to all beings. May all beings be free. May the fruits of our practice ripen into collective, expansive, and infinite liberation. I thank you for your practice. And we thank Mother Harriet for joining us today, for lending us some fuel to go on, to find that place she prepared for us, and to discover the place we will prepare for those who come after us. I'll end our recording here.